Welcome to Comedians and Elevators podcast. I've got my guest, Dolores Wheeler. Dolores, say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us a
Hi.
little bit about yourself. Yeah.
Well, comedy is my favorite. I have several videos I've done. They're short videos. I do them through SAG-AFTRA micro budget, and I'm streaming through Daily Motion. And I also have a YouTube channel. I'm on TikTok. If you type my name in, I'm on anything you can find. I've written three ebooks on Amazon, and I have screenplays for each one of them. And most of my short videos are comedic satires.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. Well, you ready to get started, Dolores?
Yes,
All right. So, the whole point of the podcast is to compare and contrast the comic versus the comedian. So, I define the comic as any person telling funny jokes versus the comedian who's a funny person telling any joke. So, Dolores, would you agree that you start as a comic and evolve into a comedian?
yes,
Okay. All right. Are you ready for the first question?
yes.
All right, so it's about the role of persona in comedy. So, how much of the comedian's voice is a character versus their real self?
Well, I've done voiceovers, and you can get a lot out of a person's voice as to their character. So, if you're doing comedy, if you're doing straight comedy, you're yourself. But if you're doing comedic characters, you have a different voice.
Okay, so when you say comedic character, so really that's an example of a comic, right?
Yes.
So then does authenticity matter or is illusion part of the magic?
Well, it's all illusion, but it's each person will take it differently as you're doing your character.
So you're saying the universe is mental?
Mental, yes,
All
we're
right.
all mental.
Fair enough, fair enough. Speaking of mental, so how about punching up versus punching down? So where do comics versus comedians subscribe to this? And let me put it in some historical context. Did a jealous medieval prince become the first comedian by killing the court jester?
No.
Okay. Well, was he? An asshole?
Yeah, I would say so because you kill the court jester, then where's your comedy? So
Right.
yeah.
It's very postmodern in that respect, I would say. So then, is the audience agreement with the comedian a form of permission or alignment?
Well, you're aligning with the comedian when you are doing comedy. I've done stage comedy, film comedy, all kinds of different comedy, and film and theater are two different mediums. So you have to do it large when you're on a theater, and you do it smaller on a screen because you got the camera.
All right. So, how about cultural translation of comedy? So, how do jokes that work in one country bomb in another?
We have to be very careful. I had seen where in certain cultures they really don't laugh, they don't show much emotion, and some are very gregarious. So it's and I've only worked in America, so I'm used to the comedy. Now, comedy in different areas of America are different, and you have to be
Mhm.
careful with your comedy. You might offend somebody. So, as if I was in a foreign country, I could do a lot of comedy on being an American because they might find a lot of comedic aspects to that. But here, it might be offensive to some. So, you have to be sensitive to your audience and where it is.
So, you're punching down on Americans when you're outside of the country? Is that what you're
I
suggesting?
think they would find that funny.
What if they don't know the reference? I would agree. I would definitely tend to agree, depending on the how you position it. But would they even understand the references?
I would have to research the country I was in and probably get advice from people as to what to use.
I mean, would you go with the bullying theme, that America's the bully?
They'd like that. They like that a lot.
Okay. How far can you take that? Like, can you imagine a set based off of that, or because I
I
haven't thought
can't.
about it, but not at the
It's
moment.
according to what country I'm in. Of course, there'll be Americans that are there. And they might take offense to some of it, but they would know where I was coming from and they might see the humor in it because they know there are some bullies in America and they some are not bullies. But I would have to do research on it and be sensitive to my audience.
Yeah, very much so. So I don't know if you were tracking recently. Dave Chappelle did that where he was in Saudi Arabia and he was talking a lot about about the United States. And then when he came back to the United States, he started talking smack about Saudi Arabia. So looks like he may have burned that
There you
bridge a
have
little
it.
bit, but worked for him. So how does the silence when your joke doesn't land hurt? Physically, emotionally, morally, or spiritually?
Well, from my experience, sometimes you have a joke that you didn't even plan on. I was in a play where I was delivering something I thought was not funny. And the audience would always laugh. And I was asking my fellow actors what's going on. They says your delivery. So we kept it in because we
Hmm.
wanted, it was a comedy. And then another time I was on a film and someone accidentally said something and improv it wasn't supposed to, but it was funny or it was good. And so they kept it in. So there, a lot of times there's happy accidents.
So we want to craft some of those, right? So would you say that comics are more universal while comedians are more culturally specific?
I think it overlaps a lot.
Okay. So speaking of overlapping, how about love and justice? So is the highest function of comedy to expose injustice or to make people feel less alone while living with it?
Both.
Okay. Fair enough. So how about when a joke harms someone unintentionally? Does love demand accountability or does justice demand defiance?
That's how you're going to always offend somebody, or you're always going to, somebody is going to take something as a joke when you didn't mean it to be a joke. So I had a comedy is can be very physical. I was in a play one time where I was turning my head, and every time I turned my head back, they would roar laughing, and I under my breath I was saying to the other actor, "What is so funny?" And he said, "Every time you turn your head, the feather gets me in the face." And we weren't planning on that because I had a big plume on my
Hmm.
hat. And so a lot of comedy is also physical, not just verbal.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. We're going to have some of the action. So, very important question, advertising and self promotion. So, who advertises themselves more, the comic, the comedian, or the magician?
I do a lot of self promotion. I lived in LA and publicists are very expensive. And now through social media, you can do a lot of publicity on yourself. So that is mainly what I use.
Do you think publicists are going to be relevant in the future?
Well, AI is taking over a lot of things, and it's kind of scary.
So, you think AI will be the best publicist?
It could be. It
All
could
right.
be. I've started using AI in my films, and they can you can pick out any character. You don't have to hire actors. You can just put them in, and but then I'm taking away from actors too. So
Well, yeah, I
double.
mean, it's not good. Like, I mean, it's getting better, but it's not really something you want to watch. Like, I start getting offended once I realize because it's getting that good. Once I realize that I'm watching an AI video, right?
Sometimes it's hard to tell.
It definitely is getting harder to tell, especially when it's in a stylistically in a form that resembles something very realistic, like a style in particular,
It
like the
tricks
news.
people every day. I
Yeah.
did a video actually on AI, and I did another video on social media scammers, and people
Mhm.
get scammed every day.
Just to mention, I did see probably the best one. There was a YouTube watching the Super Bowl before it started, and then there was like a countdown to when Trump is going to make a speech. And then once it hit the countdown, it was an AI Trump, and
Hmm.
his speech was all about like saving or doubling your investment. You just scan the QR code to, transfer your crypto. And I was like, wow, that is the bull. And there's like 16,000 people watching live. And I was
And
like,
some will
this is,
believe it, you know?
yeah. I
They
was like,
do. And
wow.
you can't convince them otherwise.
I mean, it took me about a few seconds to realize that it was AI Trump giving this announcement because the cadence was off. But it was shocking to have 16,000 people kind of waiting for it, of all things. So then who survives better in the cancel culture environment? The comic, the comedian, the magician, or the mudslinger?
Well, we're magicians when we're doing films. I actually was in LA years ago, and I was at it was I don't know if I can mention the name, but I was walked into a theater and was supposed to go talking about just a regular topic. And the man comes on, and I'm 3 rows back, and I'm looking at him, and I think it's a real man. And then poof, he was gone. And it was talking about this is the wave of the future that AI can even be on a stage, and we can't tell the difference.
So you were being shown a hologram?
Yes. So that is magic too.
Undiscovered science, but the second maybe, I mean, you can vibe code now, right? So you don't even need to know how to code and still have the same results, similar results. So is that still magic? Is
Uh,
vibe coding magic?
I think everything's magic.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So how about timing and delivery? Is it a science or an art?
It's both timing, delivery. It's harder to make people laugh than cry. So I learned that doing stage. And when you have a live audience, you feel what the audience feels. You know when you're losing them. But in film, it's different. And every audience is different that's watching that film. So it's very subjective.
So you tell me you can make people cry on live stage from them
Yeah.
they're an audience watching you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You can't. If it's a drama.
Right, right, of course. But uh, yeah, all right. I mean, I guess I've only been to a few good theatrical performances where I even was paying attention. So I guess that's partly on me as an audience member. Um, so then do comics rely more on structure and comedians more on rhythm and emotion?
Well, there's structure in rhythm, and it does have a rhythm to it. And you have to keep the rhythm going to keep your audience. And a lot of times you have to be very fast paced, or you're going to lose them.
Okay. All right. So how about laughter versus applause? So are comics chasing laughs and comedians chasing applause breaks or a primetime Emmy that validate the message?
Well, you're always chasing laughter, which follows with applause.
Okay, well, that's the best case scenario, right?
Yes.
All right. So how about comedy as commentary? So when does a comedian cross into being a philosopher or a preacher?
Well, I don't like being preached to.
Right.
I do like philosophy. One of my favorite comedians was Gallagher. Instead of them throwing rotten tomatoes at the comedian, he's throwing food at them, and people will actually pay to get food thrown on
Yeah.
them, which I thought was amazing. But he puts in philosophy and
Yeah.
he makes people think. So I thought he was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a cultural phenomenon that, yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, definitely. I agree. So is it good or does it dilute the humor?
It adds to the humor, I think, because they're sitting there knowing it's ridiculous, holding up, so it doesn't hit them. It's going to hit them anyway, make a total mess. But that's
Right.
part of the comedy.
Yeah. All right, Dolores, are you ready to enter the multiverse?
Sure.
Okay, board game Zoomcast, play versus performance. So you need to choose an avatar. So if comedy were a board game Zoomcast, are you competing as the colorist avatar, adding tone, mood, and shading, or the Foley artist avatar, building punchlines with soundscapes and timing?
So I have to choose one or two, right?
Well, you're in the multiverse, so I would say it'd be most advantage to choose one so you don't get fragmented.
That's really hard because I would want all of it.
Well, no,
To
you'll get all of it if you're in the multiverse. So you have to put yourself in that perspective. Is do you want all of it? You want all of it here in the 3D, but in the 4D and up, you sure you want all that infinity?
Yes,
All right. So does comedy work better when it's painted vividly or when it's orchestrated sonically?
both.
Okay, fair enough. So, here on the Comedians in Elevators podcast, we have a tradition where the previous guest asks a question for the next guest. And the
Okay.
previous guest was Nick McCabe. And his question for you, Dolores, is what is your favorite comedy movie?
Comedy movie, my favorite comedy movie. Oh, that's
Yeah.
really hard. I like an old movie, and because I love movies with the twist to the end of them. And there's a movie came out a long time ago. It was in black and white. It was called Harvey, and it's a guy that was the one with the rabbit. Okay, he was supposed to be crazy, and he was making other people actually start seeing this rabbit. And then at the end, he makes the psychologist or psychiatrist believe it too. So there's the twist when they're trying to get him into a psycho ward, and then everybody starts believing him. So that's my
Hmm.
favorite comedy because there's a twist.
Wow.
You don't, I didn't, when I first saw it, I didn't know what the ending was going to be.
That they also start seeing the rabbit. And this has nothing to do with drugs?
Right. And I actually
Okay.
got to do that play, and we had so much fun because by the end of the play, we were supposed to be, we were getting like, where's the rabbit? We were beginning to believe that there was a real rabbit.
So when did it start working for the character when other people started seeing it is when that the other characters were able to communicate? But like for example, was it all like one-on-one scenes until the end when it became kind of a group
Yes,
scene?
and at the end, we had someone open a door. You always come out and you take your bow, and at the end, someone opened the door, and then here came the rabbit, and we saw the
Well, that's at
rabbit
the
make a
end.
yeah,
Right, that's at the end though, right? That's like a
yeah.
kind of a postscript. All right, very cool. All right, so last question, legacy. Who gets remembered? Will the comics Tight Five survive time, or will the comedian's cultural point of view be more timeless?
Well, I have to always say both because it's so overlapping.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That definitely works. So, Dolores, where can everybody find you online?
You can find my work on IMDb. It's IMDb dot me / my name DELORES. I'm on YouTube. It's SAG /AFTRA and my name because I do both theater and film. My videos are streaming on Daily Motion, YouTube, TikTok. If you just type my name in, all kinds of things come up.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, Dolores, thank you so much for being my guest. And for everyone, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the
All
next one.
right, thank you. Bye bye.